What's going on, guys? Welcome to ASAS Photography and Music channel, where we learn about photos, how to edit photos, and more about music production. So today we'll be talking about layers. We'll be going in depth on what layers is. So this video is going to be about layers, clipping of layers, masking of layers, arrangement of layers, anything you have to think about to understand layer mask, and so many others. So let's start with the first project. Now, what do you mean layers? It's just like the way your skin is. The one you see on top, and the first layer of your skin is the one you see. The second layer is where you see your tissue, and then you have the third layer. You know all those type of drill. So first of all, when you want to open a new document, just choose any of this resolution width. Let's make this one 72. So I wanted to create an empty one, so let's just delete this one. Now this is just a demonstration. I'm going to delete this layer. Delete. Oh, can't I delete it? Okay. Let's just leave that one. It's just the color of the background. There's nothing actually in the background, so if I turn it off, so when you first open your new file project, let me just show you what I'm trying to do. Like Control N, your new, this is your background layer. It could be black, black background color, transparent, custom. So if I click past transparent, that's what you see over here. Transparent means nothing is actually there. That's just the color of your background, where your layer is going to be staying on. It's just like your background, where you are taking a photo, the back, your back, and the back of your background. The back is your background, so it could be black, it could be transparent, it could be anything. While I am the model, so something like that, very easy to understand. So you can make the background white, you can make it transparent. If I make it transparent, I'm going to get this effect. And while if I make it black, so we have a black background layer. It's also a layer, but it's just a colored layer background. But this is if you export this is what you are going to see. If you export the transparent background, there's nothing you're going to see. So let's start with what is layer. I've just explained with you a simple example. The first layers are just an arrangement of what you see, the picture of what you see, your background, things, the four. It's just like your skin. I don't know how else to explain it. It's just the layers. You see what? Okay, let's just go without the definition. Now, to create a new layer, I'm just going to use this one, transparent layer. So we have a transparent background. Now you can either create a new layer by going to layer, new layer, and then we create a new layer. Now it's going to bring up the layer panel, new layer, layer one. You can name the layer. Let's say first layer. So color, we choose none. Let's choose red, and then we have normal mode. Let's leave out this one. Just click color of the first layer and then click OK. So you're going to have this one. It's just painting the background. Now this layer has nothing in it. It's just an empty layer. You can also come here and create an empty layer. So if I hover it, you see, okay, didn't bring up. You say create new layer. You can see that. So if you add that, it's going to create another empty layer. Now we have three layers. I can name this one second layer. So to name a layer, you can double click on the name you see the second layer. If I double click on it, you are going to, don't double click over here, you are going to bring out another box, dialog box. So now this is the second layer, this is the first layer, this is the layer we created when we opened Photoshop for the first time. So it's with the white background. So if I turn it on, it's actually showing, but it's below, meaning this is the first. Okay, I'll drag this one up, the first layer, the second layer, and then the background layer. Let me name this one background layer. Now the fact is, let's talk about creating layer. We've talked about creating layer, is it not? Now the first one, arrangement of layers. The why we're seeing this one is because this second layer has nothing on it, and why we're seeing through the second layer is because the first layer has nothing, is actually empty. So now that is just about layer. What you see on top shows first. If I drag this one background layer on top, it's going to be showing first. It's going to be the first. So let me demonstrate by creating by using photos. So let's go to the one that has photo, this one. Now we have this one. Now this is our background layer, the first layer under. It could be a background layer when you first open up a new layer option, but this is just the background layer, the one at the down part. Now if I turn on this one, I'm going to see it. Why? Because it is actually the on top of the background layer, meaning you see this one before this one. Let me drag this one up a little bit. So this one is your second, while this one is your first. So you can see that if I turn this one on, I'm going to see the first layer, second layer. So if you want to turn on a layer or turn it off, you click this I button, it's going to turn it off. Click it, it's going to show it. If I turn this one, you're going to see the black line disappear. Turn this one on, you're going to see it comes back. Now apart from that, the arrangement of the layer matters a lot. What you see on the first part, on the uppermost part is the what you will see on your front, on your screen, the first part of your screen. So since this one is the first one on top, you're going to see it first. This one, the second one, is going to be at the back of the first one, which is the second one. And now this one is the third one, which is you are going to see at the back. So if I take this one, I turn this one off and I take it on top, it is actually the first one you're going to see, but because we turned it off, you are not going to see it. So if I turn it on, it's going to cover everything. Now that is about arrangement of layers. Whatever you see at the first part over here is what you see on your screen. Now if I take it down, you're going to see it before this one. You won't see this one. Even though I turn off this one, you won't see this last second layer, because this layer is actually big enough to cover the one below it. So that is just one thing about the layers. So if I turn everything off, you're going to see an empty transparent background. So this is not a layer, it's just a background where you can paste something. So pasting the first one, turning it on, is like pasting, arranging it, putting it first. Putting the second one, turning it off, does not mean that it is the second layer, but it is the second visible one, because this one is not actually visible. Now you might have a lot of visible layers and you need to arrange them to get the effect of what you want. So if I turn this one off, I'm not going to see this black layer, even if I turn this one off, because this layer is actually the second one covering this one. So if I drag it down, you're going to see everything. Now that is about layer. Now there's also something you need to also understand about layers. When you see this sign over here, this picture over here, you see this layer, the white layer doesn't have this sign. I'm just going to try and zoom in. Okay, I don't know, my zoom wheel is not okay, so let's just leave that one. This over here, this small sign over here, and this one over here, you see it's called a smart filter, meaning whatever you do to this photo, you can't actually destroy this layer. It is whatever you apply, whatever effect you apply on it can be changed later. It's not a permanent effect. Now you can actually rasterize the layer or convert it to smart object. What that means is, as it is like this with this sign on it, you can use a brush tool or any tool on it. It's going to give you an option. Could not use brush tool because smart object is not the smart object is not directly editable. So even if I turn this one on, you can't edit it. You can't actually apply any tool on it because it is indestructible. Now you can actually rasterize the layer, and then you can now edit. So if I erase this part, now why am I not, I'm even erasing, you can see that I'm erasing, but it's not affecting this one. It's because the second layer is selected, and if I turn this one off, you are going to see it. I'm actually erasing this one. So if I turn this one on, and I try to erase, I'm not actually erasing the first layer. The layer that is selected is what these tools are going to affect. So I'm going to undo that, undo till we have, so think, okay, so now I've turned it back to smart filter, nothing can affect it. Now if I want to erase this first layer, I have to rasterize it, rasterize layer, before I start to, you know, clean over it. Now what is it trying to, the Photoshop is trying to do? It's trying to tell you that, oh, the second, after erasing this part, the second layer is what you will see. If I click on this one and I erase, rasterize the layer also, and then I click on this one, you say it's like you are seeing, it's like a hole. You see, it's like a hole. So arranging things like a cylinder, you are seeing, you have punched a hole through those layers. So that is what you see, and that is the effect of what, layer. So using our brush tool again, you can undo that, sorry, you can undo the, let's undo that. So Control Z. Now that is all about layer, rasterizing layer. So if you want to convert it to smart object back, you right click and then convert to smart object, then you know that it is indestructible. Even though you blur it, let's go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Now I blur this image. Now it's not actually going to affect the real image. I can turn it off. If I turn it off, it's going to be there, so it's indestructible. So that is why we use convert to smart object. Now I can delete this filter. Right click and say delete filter mask. Right click and say clear smart filter. So we are back to where we were. Now if I rasterize the layer and I apply blur, Gaussian blur, this one, whatever thing I do is not going to, is permanent. So you can see that I can't edit anything, it's just, it will affect it straight away, and it's permanent. So until you click on Ctrl Z and then you are back to where we were. So that is about the first, about rasterizing and converting to smart object. There's also what we call transform. Now if you pick this picker tool, you can come edit and go to transform. You can transform your layer, you can, you know, you can turn it upside down, you can rotate it, you can, all these are just the way. Transform means you can make it smaller, you can increase it, you can rotate it. You can also use other transform to edit, transform. You can use distort, so it's going to distort the layer just like this, so you can move it around. So different type of transform you can use, you can do that on a layer. So that is that concerning, and let me just scale it back so we are here. So we've gone far on the layer talk. So now let's talk about clipping a layer. Now if clipping means making this layer appear like embedding a layer into another layer. It means embedding a layer into another layer. Let's try and create something. I'll try and create a new layer, and then I'm going to paint on the layer with this color. Okay, let's choose another color blue or so. So let's click on OK, and then you paint over it. So see what happens when I clip. I'm going to increase the flow to 100. So we have this. Now I'm going to paint just like so and see what happens. So for clipping a layer, you can right click and then create clipping mask, or you hold down Alt and then you click on Alt. When you see this sign, when the sign changes to this one, means you want to clip. Now if I clip on it, it actually clips to this layer, meaning you've actually stamped what you see here on this layer. So if I turn it off, you see it's there. Turn it down, it's there. So also there's other things you can do. Now that is for clipping. So let's delete this layer. I'm going to delete this layer, and then I'll try and rotate this one. Let's rotate the flower layer like this, and then I'm going to clip it and see what happens when I clip to the black layer. You clip what is above to what is below. So hold on, right click, and then okay, so watch what happens when I clip this layer to the black layer. So you can actually right here, right click, and then create clipping mask. It's going to clip it to this layer. So you see, you can adjust it, but it's as if it's being bounded by the black layer. So you understand what I mean by that. So it won't actually, leave the boundary of what you clip it to. Now that is clipping for you. You can hold down alt and then remove the clipping mask, and then you see it like this. So clipping is very important in in layer when you are doing photo manipulation or whatever you're trying to do. Now you can also clip a layer to a text. So let's create a big text. I'm going to type in A. So let the computer load. I'm just going to type in a big O. Okay, let's use add. Now add, and then I'll increase the size. So watch what happens. So this is add. Now it's actually black, actually white, I mean. So watch what happens. It's because it's showing, because it's on the first arrangement. Now if I take it down, you won't see it. Good. So I'll take it back up. So let's take it below the below the second layer. I'm going to turn this one off. So we have this one. Now I'm going to turn this one off too. So we have these two layers on. I can clip this one to this one. Holding down alt, clipping it to add, we make it show like this. See? So moving it around, you see that it's just as if it's behind and it can't come out, like something is in a cage or is in a prison. So if you want to increase the size, you can increase the size, and then you've actually came about with this effect. Now also you can clip two or more layer to it. Now if I reduce the size of this one just like so, and then I clip it onto the max tool, you are going to have the same thing effect. So you have double clipping. So you can see what the effect is doing. So it's just behind it. I just hope you get what I'm trying to say. So unclip this one. Let's try and clip the add to it. If you clip the add, so now you see what is happening. It's actually taking the shape of this one right there. It's just like a mask. So I'm going to undo that, and then we're back to normal. Clip this one back, and then we're back to where we were, and then we can turn on this one, and then you see the arrangement of the layer. Now because this one is the first one being clipped to this one, if I take everything, control select this two, and I bring it under, you're going to see that these two are always together. Whenever you move one, you are going to scatter everything. So see, so you need to know that when whatever you clip, you have to move the two together. They have to go together. So that is that. Now we've talked about clipping. So one more, let's talk about masking a layer. Now I'm going to unclip this one, and then I'm going to reduce the size. So let's just reduce the size, and then hit enter. So mask, layer mask. Now instead of using your eraser to clean some parts that you don't want to see, I will undo that. You can use a mask, layer mask. It's called layer mask. So I just want to remove the flowers, so I can use the eraser tool. Instead of using the eraser tool, you use the layer mask. Your layer mask is what you see right here, this rectangular box with a circle under it and in the middle of it. Now what does layer mask do? Layer masks allow you to affect this image, affect the view of this image. That is, if you want to see it, if you don't want to see it, what you want to see, to keep what you want to see, and to hide what you don't, to keep what you want to see and to hide what you don't want to see. Okay, so now a layer mask, you can use an eraser tool. The only tool you can use on a layer mask is the brush, which is your brush tool. You can actually use your blur tool too, but most of the time you are going to use brush tool. Now because the layer mask, the color is white, I'm just going to turn off this one. I'm going to turn off, okay, this one, and then I'm going to turn this one on. Now, okay, let's create a layer mask for this one. I'll turn this one off. I'm going to create a layer mask for this one. So click on the, select this layer. Now click on layer mask. Now since we selected the brush tool, see what happens. Because it is actually white, it will show everything. White means let's see through, transparent. Black means hide. So if I Control I on this layer, after selecting the layer mask, Control I is going to hide everything because it is black. Black means you can't see through, completely hidden. While ash means a little bit hidden, half hidden. While complete white means you can see through everything. So now if I change my color to white and the layer mask is white, if I start erasing or if I start painting with the brush, you see nothing is actually happening because I'm actually saying I still want to see more. Now if I change it to black and I paint over it, see what happens to the layer mask and see what happens to the picture. So I'm actually trying to hide what is there. See, so it's actually painting some places black and some other places white. It means that the white part of the layer mask will be seen while the darker part will be hidden. Now if you hold down Alt and then click on it, it's going to show you the view of the layer mask. If I actually paint over everything and I hold down Alt back, you see that everything I painted black will not be seen in the photo. So let's hold down Alt and click. You see, so our photo is actually there, but we can't see what is actually, we can't see through because it is actually black. Holding down Shift and clicking on the layer mask is going to disable the layer mask for some time, until you hold down Shift and click it again. So if I click it again, now we've actually used black to paint on it, and that's why we have everything, almost everything. We've got everything gone. So toggle between this and this. You can click this one to change to black, or you click X and then it's going to show, it's going to change. Now I want to bring it back, so I can toggle between black and white. So because I want this place is black hidden, I will want this first color, foreground color, to be white before I start painting, and then we're bringing everything back. So that is how layer mask works. So I can turn on this one and then I can say, okay, I want to see everything. So now let's talk about how to make this picture, the flower in the picture. I want to clip this, everything is okay to this, just only this flower right there. So I will come down here, instead of using my pen tool, I will just click on and select. Okay, let's just use this selection tool, and then I'm going to hover over it like this, and then I'm going to do the same as this one, just a rough job to select. I'll hold down Alt and then I'm going to subtract. So let's just do a rough job. Now I can clip, I can what my selection, I can make my selection black by holding down Shift and F5. It's going to fill it with black, or you can fill it with white or 50% gray. Filling it with black, see what happens. It's going to hide the layer, and then it's going to show the what is between. I can actually Control Z, and then I can also click on the layer itself instead of the layer mask and hit Control J, and it's going to duplicate that part for me. So let's come to this layer and then let's bring everything back by using white. So bringing everything back. Now we have removed, or we have cut out, or we have duplicated just the picture. Now you can actually clip this second layer to this one, the two visible layers. So take it up so that it will be on top of it, and then hold down Alt. Because this layer is actually below it, is going, you can actually clip it to it. So hold down and clip. So meaning you can clip a layer having a layer mask beneath the photo onto the photo that is below it, onto the layer that is below it, meaning this one, no, and a layer mask does not affect the clipping of a layer. So I can actually click on this one and then remove also from where I want to see. Now nothing is happening because it is actually white, so hit X or hit click on this one, and then I'm going to remove it from this one. So I have something like this. Now I can take this one up onto this one, and then we'll cover everything if I turn it on. So now I will clip it on, it's hot, and clip it. So now we have the two. But let's say I want to see I want to make only this one. Let me turn it off. I just want this white to be on this one only. How do I do that? If I turn it on, everything is black. So it's just easy. Create a layer mask for it. Now you are going to paint over, because here is already white and I want just only this place white. So if I turn it on, I'm going to erase this side with, because the layer mask is white, I'm going to erase it with black. So black means I want to see this one, I don't want to see this one. White means I want to see this one. So that is how clipping layer mask works and everything about layer mask. I hope you understand. Now there's also what we call blending modes or adjustment layers. All these are adjustment layers. Now what does it do? Let me delete this layer mask. So delete layer mask, delete this one, layer mask, and then we're back to where we were. I'm going to undo all this and then drag this one below. So now adjustment layer, this is for adjustment layer. So if I create a solid color adjustment, it's going to create a background, another background. You can choose any color. So what's good about all this adjustment layer is that you can actually edit them without, you can double click on them and then change what you want to change. They are changeable. So they are layers, but they are changeable. So I can click on another one, curves layer. So it's just an effect layer that is affecting the layers. It's affecting the layers under. It's an effect layer. So you use them to make adjustments. So that is about this one. Create new fill adjustment layer. You use them to make adjustments. Now I can also create another one, black and white adjustment layer. They are layers because since they are present here in the layers panel, they are called layers. So you can use them to adjust the layers beneath them. So if I turn this one on, you see everything is black and white because I turned this black and white layer on. It's just an effect layer. So you can also edit them by double clicking and then changing things you want to see like this. So it's just an effect layer, and that's all. Nothing much to understand. So you can decrease and you can increase. So let's talk about decreasing and increasing the opacity of layer. Now over here you see fill and opacity. If I turn it off, this is 0% opacity. If I turn it on, this is 100% opacity. So consider toggling on and off as 0 and 100%. Now if I want to decrease the opacity, I can come here and decrease the opacity, and it will be, as you bring it down, it's going to be disappearing just bit by bit till you get to 0, which is you toggled it off. And bringing it up is 100% visibility, 0% visibility. So if you put it in between, you are still going to be seeing through the layer, just like a glass. I hope you understand. Now, same thing as this adjustment layer, you can actually decrease the opacity like this. So when you decrease the opacity, this is what, of this black and white layer, you see the effect is going to be fading. So you have something like this. So if you take it full, you're going to see everything white. So that is just about the opacity. Your fill also works like the opacity, but only that your fill is going to be adjusting the effect, while your opacity is going to be adjusting the layer, the visibility of the layer. So fill is adjusting the effect, but both works the same way. but they have different algorithms. I don't know how they programmed it, but there are sometimes it's the fill, you need to decrease the fill, sometimes you need to decrease the opacity. So that is about fill and opacity, and you can't affect anything that you turn off. Since this layer is off, you can't affect the opacity of fill, but you can actually clip it, but you can't affect the opacity. You can turn it to convert it to smart object. You can actually also rasterize the layer, but you can't rasterize an adjustment layer, but you can rasterize an adjustment layer that is affecting a photo. So let's continue now. So that is that about fill and this thing. Now I'm going to turn off this one, and then we're back to the photo. We have this two photo right here, so I'm going to delete this one. Just right click and then delete layer, you see, up right here, or you can drag it. If you want to delete this layer mask, you can delete the layer mask, but it's going to give you a warning: apply layer mask before removing. No, I don't want to apply it, so you delete it. So we are left with the photo. Now you can actually change the blend mode. Now if it is in normal, this is where they call the blending mode. If it is in normal, it means it's just the original photo. If you click on it and then you go to dissolve, you start seeing different things, effects of it. So blending modes are used in editing a lot. I kind of like that one. Everything's gonna be okay. So if I turn it up, we'll have this one. Everything's going to be okay. Now this is blending mode. So if I turn off this layer, you're going to see nothing. Now the blending mode is actually trying to blend two layers together. So if I turn this one, you see it's trying to blend this one and this one, these two layers together. So that is why if you have three layers on, this part will try to blend with the one below it. If I add this one, you see everything is just trying to blend the one below it. So that is what blending mode does. It blends everything until you clip it to this one, and then it's just going to be affecting the blending mode of this layer, which is exclusion, is just going to be affecting the layer below it. So if I click Alt and I remove, so you can also turn it back to normal. Now turn it to different, you can put it in color, so it's going to just try and blend itself. Luminosity, that one is for, you know, the brighter and darker side. So and it's just going to be affecting the photo. So that is about the blending modes of a layer. So just a quick summary: this, you can decrease the opacity of the layer, bringing it down 0%, bringing it up 100%, bringing it to the middle, which is 50%, is going to show a little bit, same as the fill. But the fill is just for adjusting the you can use it to adjust the layer also, but it's mostly used for the effects, or effects you use. Your normal blending mode shows the original photo, while the rest can show you different blending modes. You know, you can see, so they are using it for editing. So you can do all that. It affects for the layer. This one is your move tool, so you can, you know, move you can't move the layer, but you can move the layer below it. So it's as if you are this one means you are locking the layer, unlock. So that is what all this two means. You can't move it, lock the layer, and the let's stop. Now let's go to clipping of layer. I'm going to turn this one off. I'm going to turn this one on. So just like this two layer is, I said you can clip. So holding down Alt and clipping it to the one add or below it is going to clip it below. So you can see what happens to it. So you can use it to create your, you know, flyer design effect a lot. So I'm just going to undo that and then undo, Alt and click. You can also click by right clicking and creating clipping marks. You can create a gradient map. So gradient map is just a map. Let's choose basic ones. Okay, let's see from blues. I'm going to click OK. So you see now, because it is below. Now if I turn this one on, it's not going to affect that one. Why? Because the gradient map is below the second this layer, while it is above every other layer, so it's going to affect all other layers. That is what the arrangement of layer does. So anything above it is not going to affect it, but anything below it is going to affect it. So now I'm going to turn this one off. So this is our gradient map. We can also paint over it, automatically create a layer mask on it. Now if I turn it off, we're back to the layer. We can clip this layer to the add like I said earlier, and then we turn on this one. It's just going to affect everything, but moving you can see the picture below, it is still affecting it, but it's actually there. Now if I clip it, it's going to be clipped, but it's not going to affect the white layer. If I unclip this one, you see what the effect is going to get. I'm going to clip it back, alt and click, alt click, and then we're there. Boom. I can drag this one on top and it's going to show. I can reduce the opacity, the transform tool, and then I can bring it like this, add. So like I said, you can actually use the transform tool to rotate. When you have this sign, you can rotate. You can use come here, edit, transform, and you can use any of this transform tool, screw. So just do what you can do with your layer. So that is all about layer. Now I said any layer, you can create a new layer, you come here and then create a new layer. It creates an empty layer, but you can create a layer. Creating a layer that is not empty, that has color, is what we call solid color. So it will create an adjustment layer. It will create a layer for you, but with a layer mask, something like this, solid color with a layer mask. Let's choose this color, yellow, with a layer mask. Now this layer mask also, you can add it to this layer by clicking this one, this layer mask, and then you have your layer mask. Now when I said the layer mask, you can only use brush to paint over it, and then since it's white and here is white and the layer mask is white, white means make it visible, black means make it hidden. So if I toggle X or I click on this and then I paint over it, it will hide it, all this layer. So you can see that the layer mask now is not black. Also this one, I can actually fill it back. So shift F5 is going to fill it back with white, or you come here, edit, fill, and then that's just the shortcut. Now I can actually select the layer beneath it, which is the layer mask. If you select this one, nothing is going to happen. So if you select this one and then click on it, you are going to see, but you are affecting what is under the first layer. So understand how layer works. So that is just about layer, what you need to understand. Clipping of layers, the thing you can do with layer, clipping of layers, creating layer masks, creating reducing and increasing the opacity and decreasing the fill, arranging layer, putting one over another. So if one is at the top, it means that one is the main priority, is the first thing you are going to see. If it is below, it means you are not going to see it unless you see the first thing above. So just whatever is on top is what you see, whatever is below is the last thing you are going to see. So you can clip, you can create a convert to smart object. Converting a layer to smart object means you are actually you can actually destroy the layer, but you can edit it, but it's going to be creating the effect below. While rasterizing the layer means you can apply those tools. You can use those tools, Photoshop tools, that are here to affect the layer. So let's see what happens when I rasterize this layer. Now if I say convert to smart object, it's going to remove the layer mask. If I rasterize the layer, it's going to make me convert it to a layer that I can actually clean or paint on. Why? Without if it's on this field, if you see this sign, you can't actually affect it. So that is about layer. Now you can combine 2 or 3 layers together. So let's see what happens. I can select this one. To merge all the layers together, you hold down Shift, Control and alternate E. It's going to create just one single layer that you can actually see. So I can turn this one turn off, but that's created one single layer for you. So you can merge 2 layers together. I can click on these 2 and I right click and say merge visible layers. So you can merge layers together, you can hide layers, you can change the blending mode of this layer, and that's what's just going to, let's change the blending mode, and then you see what just the effect is just going to be bringing up. So that is all about layer. Just see layer as your skin. The first part is what you see on top. The second part, which is your tissue, is what is below. You can click the layer, you can reduce the opacity, you can increase the fill, you can change the blending mode, you can create a layer mask for a layer and use the brush tool to paint over. You can transform a layer, you can edit a layer, you can cut, you can select a layer as what is present in the layer. So whatever you see is what you'll be attending to first. You are not going to see through until you turn it off. So if at all you want to select whatever is actually here, you can actually use any of the tools on it. So but just understand how layer works. The most important thing you need to know is how to clip a layer. Know that the layer on top is what you will see through first before you see other things. So if you are confused about where to go, how did this thing come here, why can't I remove this thing, it's because it's the first layer you're actually seeing. And sometimes you do mistake, you clip a layer, sometimes you might just decrease the flow or opacity, while sometimes you might have changed the blending mode. You won't know, you just like, what happened, you're trying to go back to where it started. Just know that you've actually touched one of these 3 things. So mostly you will encounter those type of problem, changing one of the blending mode by mistake, or you can't actually have, when you convert it to rasterize it or convert it to smart objects. So problem arises when you know that you can't affect it. It's always bringing this dialog box while other people are using those tools to edit their photos. So just know that you just need to convert it and rasterize it first before you use all these tools on it. So that is just it. Creating a new layer, you come here, you create a new layer. Deleting a layer, you can drag down and then to this recycle bin icon, or you click on it and press delete. It's going to delete the layer for you. So that is all about layers. That is all about layers. So I hope you guys have learned something. If you learned something, or you have more questions concerning layer, you can let it come. You can come make ask question on the comment section. Or if you find this video helpful, you can also like the video, share, and don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe, more importantly. So today I find I have problem with the gen and there's no light source, so I just wanted you people to see my face, and instead of talking blindly, so it's better you see one-on-one and then you get something. So that is that about layers. So one other big tip, which is this one, this icon, layers. This actually shows you everything you can do with this layer. So this one is affecting layer, this one is affecting your image, this one affects both the image and the layers. So it's just as anything you want to affect. Let's say this layer. Now I'm going to turn this one off. I'm going to delete everything. Shift to this side. I'm going to hit delete. This one, shift to this side. I'm going to hit delete. Now I'm going to delete this layer mask also. Now coming to layers, you can create a new layer. You can duplicate layer. Duplicating layers. Sorry, I didn't talk about that one. Ctrl J. You can hit Ctrl J, it's going to duplicate the layer for you, or you right click and say duplicate layer. You can delete layer, you can group from layers. So that is layers. Now you come to layer, you can duplicate, you can delete. You can quick export your layer, your image or the layers, whatever you created. Let's say you created something funny like this and you want to export it. You like the photo the way it is, so you can come here, layer, you can export that, export the layer. First of all, instead of coming here and exporting the whole image, you just export just the layer itself. So now layers, you can rename layer, layer style, which is your blending mode, blending option, which I'm going to talk about now. So your layer style. So layer style, if you double click, don't double click where the text is, it's going to rename it. But double clicking on this side, on this one, you are going to bring the layer style. That's the layer style. Or let me cancel it. You right click and then the blending option is also going to bring the layer style up for you. So you can also come here, layer, and then layer style, blending option. So this is already giving you what you will see in the blending option. So double clicking on this one, bring up the layer style, and this is what the layer style does. I'm going to, you can, drop shadow. You see the shadow dropping. You can outer glow. You see some glow over there. You can, pattern overlay. Wow, you want to have some pattern like different. There are so many patterns that you can use. Trees, leaves, and so you want to put the pattern overlay. It's more like a cinema 3D using materials. Let me not go far. Okay, gradient overlay. So you can apply all this style to it. Inner shadow, so it's just, you can stroke it and then you have this like a frame. Put texture, you can put contour, so just layer style. And then one important thing is the let me undo all those, which is the blending. Let's go to let's cancel. Okay, let's cancel it and let's double click on it. Now you're going to see this blending option. There's blending option inside. So blending option is as if this is another tutorial for layer styles. But if I increase this slider, you see what happens. It's going to make the places that are white, the places that are white on the photo is this place. The places that are actually having colors or dark are this place. So as I'm putting it up, you see everything keep this. Moving it like this means leave those things that are white and remove those things that are other colors. But underlaying layer means decide where you will remove by what you see beneath, meaning these two, this one is on top of this one. So meaning if I say remove the white part, you see what is going on. It's actually removing it from the brighter part of the other image at the bottom. While if I take it the reverse, you see the black part removing. So you see, so that is just the blending mode. You can use it to affect the image itself. So double click, or you come here, layers. So let's continue. Layer, new fill layer, meaning this up one is called fill layer, solid layer, gradient, pattern. So clicking any of those is going to bring new fill layer, but it's not going to give you layer mask. So new fill layer, sorry, color, there won't be any layer mask on it. So click on OK. Okay, there's layer mask. Okay, this one creates layer mask. There's one adjustment layer that doesn't create layer mask. I guess it's new adjustment layer. Okay, all this one. Let's see. Levels. I think. Okay, oh, it still create layer mask. Unlike then, it doesn't create layer mask for us. So we have new fill layer, new adjustment layer. So adjustment layer, you want to adjust the exposure, you want to adjust the saturation, the color, the black and white. So that is it. Now new fill layer means it's going to, meaning it's going to cover everything. It's creating a solid, a color. Even gradient is going to cover all. So gradient fill is, see, it's going to cover something. It's just telling that the picture, the image is going to be covered by some colors. So layer mask, I've talked about layer mask. Vector mask, that is another one. Vector mask is just if you want to create your vector, create a vector image, because sometimes when you zoom in, it's going to blur out. So vector mask can create clipping masks. We've talked about clipping masks, holding down alt and clipping a layer to the next one, just like this, Alt, and then I'm just doing some Alt. Now going back, layer, we have smart object, convert to smart object. You know how to convert to smart object. So converting into smart object, it means you can actually destroy the photo. Let's continue, convert to smart object. So that is just all you are going to use. Rasterize is already rasterized, that's why you don't have this option. So if I click on convert to smart object and then I come here, you see smart object. It's already converted to smart object. Rasterize, now you now have the rasterize turned. The rasterize is no more grayed out, so you can new smart object via copy. So you can bring up this one. It's still the same thing as pressing Ctrl J. Rasterize, you can rasterize layer or rasterize all layer. If you choose this one, it's going to rasterize the 3 layers that are here. So new layer based slice, I've never used that one. Group layers, you know what group layers is. So you can create a group and then drag everything into the group. So dragging it into the group, just like so. Okay, so if I turn it off, it's going to turn on everything in the group. So I've grouped the layers and then I can turn it off and on. So which other one do we have? Hide layers, you know what that one means. Arrange, so instead of dragging and bringing it, you can bring this one to the front. So bring forward, send back, send to the back. Let's send it to the back. It will take it to come back. So right clicking, I think we're okay, we can't see it here, but we can actually drag. So it's basically doing something like this. So that is in CorelDRAW when you have to bring to the back, but it's actually easier here. I guess it's actually easier. Lock layers, of which we've talked already. Align layers. So that is just aligning layer to the middle. So sometimes those options are going to be present, but you won't use them most of the time. All right. So that will come to the end of the video. That is everything about layers. That is everything about layers. So if you want more tutorial, or you want to learn about any other thing concerning Photoshop, we're going to be talking about the blending options in the next video. So all those blending modes and also those little things that actually gives you problem. And sometimes I'm going to make a video of all these tools right here. So we have video of making, we are going to talk about the tools, and we are going to talk about the channel parts, blending options, and also the other tools at all in Photoshop. So this one is just for layer mask. So don't forget, if you find anything confusing, if I talk too fast, tell me I talk too fast. But don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to share, don't forget to like button. So one love, take care.